As a writer trying to finish a book, there have been times in the past when you've worried you will never finish your manuscript. You go through periods when you're super motivated and you tell yourself you're going to force yourself to write every day until this darn thing is finally finished. But it's never that easy. You sit down to write only to find yourself pulled into something on the internet or Instagram, or the phone rings, or someone knocks on your door. Or you plan a writing session every day only to suddenly have to deal with picking the kids up from school, or taking an elderly relative to the hospital, or finishing a report for your day job, or just getting some darn groceries in the house, right? Life. And if you're like most writers, when you sit down to write, you can sometimes make progress and get a few pages down. But then there are other times when you're stuck staring at a blinking cursor or a blank page. And it's frustrating because it feels like there's no consistency to your writing practice and you're not gaining the momentum you need to finish, which fills you with doubt and imposter syndrome. Is that your story? Is that why you're here today? You know you're a writer. You've got a great idea for a book, but finding the consistent focus, motivation, and confidence you need to finish writing your book probably sounds like a pipe dream at this point. Or maybe you find yourself writing away, but then you come up against the thought that your writing isn't good enough, or worse, that you're not good enough. It's hard to keep coming back to the page when those kinds of nasty thoughts are knocking around your head on the regular. Now, here's the thing. I don't think there's any worse feeling in the world than knowing deep in your bones that you've got a great idea for a book, but you can't get the words out of your head and down onto the page in a way that lives up to the brilliant vision of the book in your head. And so it's no wonder we end up stuck with an unfinished manuscript when that's what's going on. Well, hey there, writer. I'm Rhonda Douglas, a published and award-winning author, editor, and writing mentor, and I'm the founder of First Book Finish and Resilient Writers. For over a decade now, I've been supporting writers to improve their writing, get their work finished and out into the world. I've worked with literally hundreds of writers all over the world. I completed my Master's of Fine Arts back in 2011 in creative writing, and I've done another graduate diploma in writing after I finished my English Lit degree as well. I'm a former literary magazine editor, and I've traditionally published a couple of books in different genres and won some awards. But I think what really sets me apart is that I've cracked the code on how to shift my thinking and mindset about the writing process. And I've had a unique opportunity to see how this shift in thinking can work with writers in all genres. I'm incredibly passionate about helping other writers finish their books and get them out into the world so that they can connect with their ideal readers. That really, really matters to me. But it wasn't always this way. You see, back in 2008, after my first book was published, I became super conscious of what people might think of me and my writing. And that resulted in a huge case of writer's block, which led to me avoiding my writing sessions. And that, avoiding this thing that I love so much, eventually led to a case of depression. I was hearing all this writing advice that I should just put my butt in chair and force myself to write no matter what. And there was this unspoken assumption that real writers wrote every single day without fail. And that was really hard for me because at the time I was a single mother of a teenager, plus I was working full time and I was going to graduate school at night. Like I did not have the time. And sometimes I didn't have the energy either. When I did find the time to write, I felt completely paralyzed by self-doubt and imposter syndrome. And I'm telling you, I tried everything. I got a coach. I read all the writing craft books, right? I Googled famous writers and their writing routines, and I even went into therapy about it. When I started working on my second book, I knew I needed to find a solution. I needed something better. I needed something that would work. And I remember that at the time, I even thought about quitting writing for good. I knew I loved writing and I had good story ideas, but I couldn't finish anything I started. I tried everything. If someone said you should get up at 5 a.m. and write, I did it. But most of those ideas either didn't work for me at all, or they sort of helped for a little while, but then they didn't work for my life or my brain. And all those negative thoughts about my writing kept swirling around. I tried free writing. I tried Julia Cameron's morning pages. I tried copying out paragraphs written by some of the famous writers I admired. I mean, I tried it all. It wasn't until I was doing a different master's degree for my day job, I found the answer that I was looking for. In my research for my master's thesis, I started going deep into how organizations can foster creativity. And importantly, I learned how much brain science knows about human motivation and how we can make the shifts we want to make. It was the furthest thing from creative writing I could think of. I mean, brain science, what? Right? And I also discovered there was this whole set of scholars in the academic world studying how creativity actually works and what makes it possible for some of the world's greatest authors and artists to produce their work. So naturally, I went super deep into that, totally geeked out, because I felt like science held some of the answers I was looking for. And what I learned changed everything for me. As writers, we believe that writing and finishing a book is all about writing craft. If we just know our characters well enough, understand how to write a scene, edit our work, et cetera, if we understand all of that, then writing a book should be easy. And if it seems hard, we think that's a reflection on us as writers. But what we don't realize is equally important, and maybe even more important over the long run, is to develop the skills we need to manage our creative anxiety as artists. All artists have creative anxiety. It's 100% normal and completely understandable if you think that we're basically creating something amazing out of nothing but the ideas in our head and a few thousand words. In other words, finishing a book is part writing craft and part mindset, or how you think about your writing. And I'd even go so far as to say that I think mindset is like 80% of the job. And up until that point, I honestly thought that writing a book was a case of like butt in chair, turning out page after page, a brilliant story. And if I couldn't do that consistently, then something was wrong with me. And I obviously wasn't cut out to be a real writer, whatever that is. I would go through these bursts of getting work done, followed by really emotionally difficult periods where I'd basically give up on myself and my dreams. But once I learned some of these tools from the social science of creativity, tools and techniques that are borne out in brain science, once that all clicked for me, I was able to find the consistent focus and motivation I needed to finish my second book. And I used those tools to finish my next book and the next one. I even finished a book during the past 2-3 crazy years, and I've taught this approach to hundreds of writers now as well, and they've finished their book. This still blows my mind. So 97% of people who say they want to write a book never finish, but using these techniques, over 90% of the writers in my programs do finally finish the books they've been struggling with for months or even years. These techniques have changed my writing life and the writing life of hundreds of my writing students whom I've taught them to. Like Maria Esther Rodriguez, who finished the book she was writing in English, which was her second language. She's now doing a Spanish version as well. Ashley Dobbin Calkins, who used the launch of her self-published hardcover book to throw a fundraising event for her local dog rescue charity. Karen Lee Armstrong, who finished and self-published her book, which is a gorgeous novel called Drown Proofing. Or Kirsty McKenzie, whose novel about 2 band members on a road trip through the US is now out with Tough Bastard Books. Or Mari, who struggled to finish her nonfiction book for literally years, but is now an award-winning and best-selling Amazon author. Yay, Mari. Or Elizabeth, who finished her steampunk fantasy novel Grand Tour while fighting some serious health issues. Or Kimberly Ward, who took my boot camp and then finished her memoir, Crew of 3. It's so exciting to see them finally at that stage in their writing lives when for months and months, and literally sometimes years, they struggle to even finish a first draft. And now I want to ask you a question. What would your writing life look like if you finally finished that book you've been working on? And how would your writing life change if you learned tools and techniques that could help you finish not just this book, but all your books to come? How much more confident would you feel in your writing if you knew you had the skills and stamina to not only start a book, but write all the way through to typing those 2 magic words, the end? And more importantly, how would this change how you felt about yourself as a writer? And how would it change how you feel about yourself as a person who's capable of achieving her dreams. I want you to know these techniques aren't just working for me. It's how successful writers are finishing books and getting them out into the world so they can reach their ideal readers. And like I said, these techniques will work not just for the book you're working on right now, but all your future books as well. It's the kind of thing that once you learn it, you can't unlearn it, and it completely transforms your writing life and has spillover into other aspects of your life as well. So now I want to help you find the consistent focus, confidence, and motivation to finish your books and get them published. I believe the world needs your story. We need the book only you can write. I'd like to invite you to join my virtual event, Book Finishers Bootcamp, and here's why I'm organizing it. There are too many writers struggling because they don't understand how to finish a book quickly and be confident that it will work so that they can achieve their writing goals and get the books out into the world. And that's why I want to invite you to join this exclusive bootcamp event. This will be your shortcut to getting your book finished and into the hands of your ideal readers. All you have to do is click any of the buttons on this page to be part of the community of supportive writers joining me in this bootcamp experience. By the end of this virtual bootcamp, you'll walk away with a beautiful blueprint that outlines your plan for how you'll finish your books, a clear and achievable plan that respects your personal life circumstances. And handing over all these finishers, tools, and techniques, I'll also be hosting hot seats, breakout rooms, and Q&A sessions so you can connect with me about your book and other writers as well. Make some new writing friends. You can see the full schedule listed out below. So normally to work with me as your creativity coach, you'd pay $150 for a coaching session. And my coaching clients usually sign up for a few months of these at a time. So it can cost you over $1,000 easily. To work with me as a developmental editor, I charge almost $3,000. And not only that, but there are programs out there that charge over $4,000 just to help you write one short story. And I know you don't need another pat on the back or a "you got this" kind of chat. You need proven tools and techniques that you can use immediately to finish your current work in progress and move on to the next one in as short a time as possible. And because I want to get these tools into the hands of as many writers as possible, you can secure your Book Finishers Bootcamp ticket today for just $37. It's important to me that this bootcamp is affordable. If you're like most writers, you've probably bought a gorgeous leather-bound journal for more than that and never written a word in it because it's too pretty. Am I right? And that's not all, because I've decided to throw in these additional bonuses. First, you'll get my book finish blueprint. It's a fill-in-the-blank roadmap, so you have total clarity on what to do next to finish your book. This is going to help you clarify where to focus next, how soon you can finish, and to hone in on the essential ingredients you need to finish your book. That way, you know exactly how to fit finishing your book into your life and the date when you'll finally write the end on the last page of your finished manuscript. You'll also get a full year of access to all the bootcamp training recordings, the video, audio files, copies of all the slides, so that you can revisit these key concepts from the training whenever you want. We have a private Facebook group filled with like-minded writers in a supportive environment who all share the same goal of finishing a book. Having a writing community and supportive network for me over the years has been huge. And I want you to take full advantage of that when you join the bootcamp. Use the group to connect with other writers and get feedback from me as you finish your book finish blueprint. Bonus number 4 is a special guide I've created just for this event. It's called The Finisher's Guide to Turbocharging Your Writing Time, so that you can potentially double or even triple your writing speed and finish your book that much faster. These are the methods I use all the time to shave weeks or months off of finishing a draft and revising. You're going to come back to this guide time and time again as you write your books. This guide alone could be the difference between dragging out your book over years, so it feels like a complete slog, versus getting a draft down in mere weeks so you can get on with the fun of revising. If you've ever struggled with gaining momentum on your page count, then this bonus is going to save you a lot of time and effort, and it's free once your seat is reserved. I have one more bonus for you. It's going to save you so much time and potential frustration, particularly in the revision stage. So during the training, we're going to talk about the essential book outline, the fundamentals you have to have in place to be sure that you are writing a book that works. There's no point in dedicating so much time to a draft only to find it doesn't really work once you hit revision. I'll give you a PDF guide that walks you through the essential book outline step by step so that you know the principles behind each part of your outline and why it is critical to help you write a book that works, even at the first draft stage. I mean, you could just wing it, but you can end up feeling super frustrated at the vision stage, wondering how you take this like mess of a first draft and make it really compelling for your readers. What if you could have all the fundamentals of this sorted out from the early draft stages? There's totally a way, and I'll show you in clear and simple steps in this PDF guide and the training. All these bonuses are yours for free when you secure your spot in the bootcamp. Use them as extra motivation and fuel as you finally finish your book. So best of all, this program comes with my 10x guarantee. I believe in these techniques and my framework so much that I 100% guarantee you're going to love this bootcamp. If at the end of day one, you don't feel that you've received 10 times the value of your $37 investment, so $370 in coaching support and writing techniques to help you finish your book, I will happily refund your investment in full. No questions asked. Does that sound fair? Okay, great. All you've got to do now is click any of the buttons on this page to join us for just $37. So full transparency, I want to give everyone who joins my full attention. So seats in this bootcamp are limited and it will sell out fast. It always does. Oh, and I might have a few surprises waiting for you inside the bootcamp as well. I love me some surprises. So not only that, but I don't know how long it's going to be until I run another boot camp. So if you're thinking you finally want to finish this book that you started and you want to do that in as little time as possible, knowing the book is going to work, then this is your chance. Just click the button to join and I'll see you in the boot camp. Can't wait to meet you.